and begins setting traps for the investigator. One of those traps was the evil eye drawn beneath Ichabod's bed, which he discovers by chance. The Cartoon Network series Samurai Jack is about a hero named Samurai Jack who was sent forward in time against his will to find himself in a future created by his arch enemy. In one of his many adventures, Samurai Jack attempts to break into the villain's many fortresses in order to steal an object with incredible power, powerful enough to send Samurai Jack back to the past so he can prevent the accursed future his nemesis has created. This pyramidal fortress is covered from head to toe with all-seeing eyes. Obviously, the all-seeing eye being repeatedly associated with the villain is consistent with modern-day Satanists, who have equated the eye with Satan. Even though this is the most common use of the symbol, some movies depict the all-seeing eye in the context of Egyptian mythology, where the eye was a superweapon, or the mark of divinity, bore by the Chosen One. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pyramid of Light is a kids' movie with a rather ridiculous premise, where people duel each other with monsters evoked from playing cards. In the cartoon, powerful and evil spirits have been locked away in a series of pieces called the Millennium Items. When all the pieces are brought together, the puzzle form a pyramid with the all-seeing eye. The story centers around Yu-Gi-Oh!, who is a champion card player because of his 3 Egyptian god cards, which the villain, named Seto Kaiba, attempts to steal from Yu-Gi-Oh! During the duel between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Seto, the Egyptian god of the dead, Anubis, is released from his prison within the pyramid. He then becomes the bearer of the mighty weapon himself. After a drawn-out battle, Anubis is predictably defeated by the story's hero, Yu-Gi-Oh! The all-seeing eye and pyramid are seen so many times in the film, they hardly have a single context aside from being the emblems of a superweapon. Tomb Raider is about a woman named Lara Croft, played by Angelina Jolie, who learns that her late father has left her the key to half of a superweapon called the Triangle of Light. The Triangle of Light is a weapon that was split into 2 pieces long ago and offers its bearer the awesome ability to control time. The main villain, Manfred Powell, is working hard for a group called the Illuminati so that the 2 halves of the triangle may be brought back together during a momentous celestial alignment. Right before the Illuminati succeed in gaining the power of God by bringing together the 2 halves, they are betrayed by Manfred Powell, who himself attempts to bring the 2 pieces of the triangle together. Lara Croft foils his plan and destroys the Triangle of Light so that it could never again endanger the world. In Tomb Raider, the all-seeing eye is both the insignia of the Illuminati and the superweapon they pursue.
The secret society known as the Illuminati, devious, dangerous men who seek to fulfill an ancient prophecy by reuniting the 2 halves.
In The Mummy Returns, a Tomb Raider of sorts named Rick, played by Brendan Fraser, discovers that a cult intends on resurrecting an ancient army using a bracelet belonging to the Egyptian god Anubis. The cult intends on unleashing and commandeering the army of Anubis. During the movie, a tattoo with the all-seeing eye and pyramid is seen on Rick's arm, and he is later told that this is a symbol of a chosen one, a warrior for God. The prophecy regarding the divine mark reveals itself to be true as Rick strikes the final blow that sends the army of Anubis back to the underworld. The Man Who Would Be King is about 2 Englishmen who, after being declared criminals by the British Empire, conjure a plan to travel to a far-off and primitive land in the hope that they could arrive and rule the primitive population. The all-seeing eye is first seen on a charm together with the Masonic compass. This Masonic charm, which they first tried to steal, was eventually given to them. When they arrive to the primitive land of Kafiristan, The charm is spotted by the locals and acknowledged as a divine emblem that catapults one of the movie's main characters, Danny, into instant rulership. Disaster begins to befall Danny's kingdom, and soon the native holy men turn against Danny and his rulership.
They're masons. By the square, by the level, by the plumb rule, by the compasses, and by the all-seeing eye. The craft, Danny, the craft.
Similar to The Man Who Would Be King, Stargate is about a guy named Danny who was given a charm adorned with the all-seeing eye. Danny, along with a chaperone of soldiers, arrived to a primitive land where, just like The Man Who Would Be King, the locals noticed the charm Danny was given and mistake it for divinity. Ra, the villain of Stargate, receives word of Danny's arrival and attempts to kill the soldiers that arrived with him. Danny would lead the natives along with the remaining soldiers to victory against Ra. The 2009 movie, Men Who Stare at Goats, is about a disbanded group of psychic warriors who once worked for the army, but whose unit was later decommissioned. These psychic soldiers call themselves the Jedi, and hold the all-seeing eye and pyramid as their insignia. The villain of the movie, who was once a former member of the Jedi, has revived the disbanded army battalion and plans to use it for more nefarious purposes. Predictably, the good remaining Jedi foil the plot of their old colleague and expose his activities to the world. The movie was obviously borrowing from George Lucas's Jedi, but even George Lucas was borrowing the concept of the Jedi. Jedi comes from the word Dijedi. Dijed meaning spinal column, and Dijedi was the name of mystic priests in ancient Egypt who practiced alchemical magic to give themselves new powers. Then there's Master of Disguise, a movie so bad only a masochist could enjoy it. The film, which is obnoxious beyond all reckoning, centers around a character named Pistachio, who comes from a family line of superheroes who are able to disguise themselves as the person of their choice. In the movie, Pistachio's father is kidnapped and forced to use his powers to do the bidding of the movie's villain, a character with the not-so-subtle name of Devlin. Being generous, I'll spare you the details of Pistachio's mentally handicapped quest to locate and free his enslaved father, and simply remark that the all-seeing eye is used as a symbol of Pistachio's bloodline. Pick of Destiny is about an aspiring rock musician named JB, who learns that all the best rock musicians of the past used the same guitar pick, which had been fashioned from the tooth of the devil by a powerful magician ages ago. He eventually obtains the Pick of Destiny in the Rock and Roll Museum, and by the end does battle with the devil in a rock-out contest. The all-seeing eye is seen on Jack Black's t-shirt and on the headband of Jack's mentor, another band member named KG. Mystery Men is about a group of disorganized wannabe superheroes who realize that it is up to them to save Champion City from a crime wave perpetrated by the movie's disco-obsessed villain, Casanova Frankenstein. After recruiting more members to the superhero franchise, they still find themselves without leadership. The Mystery Men find leadership in a Yoda-like character named the Sphinx. The Sphinx trains and mentors the group until they are ready for the final showdown with the forces of Casanova Frankenstein. The all-seeing eye is spotted on the garment of the group's mentor in the moments leading up to the final battle with Casanova. In the movie Van Helsing, the famous vampire hunter Van Helsing is out to save a town in Eastern Europe from the clutches of Dracula